Welcome back to Bombastic Nation and Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Jan and I'm back with some more vibes for you. And this one is called What European Things Do People in Other Countries Find Weird? I think I did one, what American things people find weird or something like that before. So, we're going to go through this and see what people find weird about the things that Europeans do. All right, thank you all for watching this with me. Let's go ahead and YouTube and simmer.
Today we'll be flipping a recent show called American Things Europeans Find Weird, a clip that didn't sit well with some of our viewers. We should first provide the disclaimer that these kinds of shows focus on either stereotypes or behavior that might be common, but certainly not traits belonging to everyone of a certain country or continent. Not all Englishmen are habitual tea drinkers, and not all French folks have a penchant for reciting romantic poetry. And no, a good deal of Americans don't take their beloved Smith & Wesson to the shopping mall. We also understand that Europe is a very diverse place with countless cultures, but what we'll attempt to do today is present traits, habits, or actions that happen in Europe and are perhaps common that could be construed as strange to visitors. With that said, welcome to this episode of the Infographic Show, European Things Other Countries Find Weird. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. We'll start with food. Now, depending on where you come from in Europe, eating habits change dramatically. If you visit places such as France, Italy, or Spain, you might find that food is much more than sustenance and meal times are quite a cultivated matter. In Italy, you could expect to take a 2-hour lunch, sometimes with wine, on a workday. Food matters. In France or Spain, dinner might last all night, and again, wine is often there at the table. Dinner is often sacrosanct, and it's a time for sharing and talking, and often many courses are served. For most visitors to these countries, if they end up being invited to a family dinner, they will often be pleasantly surprised by the sheer volume of treats and also the wonderful conviviality. You may also find that once you have made the acquaintance of some Europeans, they can be quite tactile and for some people get a little too close. While in some southern European cultures you might find men, just friends, holding hands as they walk down the street, it's not uncommon in Italy,
Actually, on the island, it's kind of like the same thing. Like you see guys that are friends would have their hand on another one's shoulder, and they'd be walking down the street and stuff, just chilling, as friends and stuff like that. That you don't see that here, It's like I'm a man, don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? The thing. Lately, though, I noticed that they do the plap and the tap tap tap, so they do get a little close, but you have to really 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 know somebody to do that, because if you walk up to the street and go plap and you touch them like that, oh man, no, you're just trying to have that happen, unless of course you're a celebrity, and then they're gonna go plap, drool all over the celebrity. But that's it. There on the island, people are a lot more touchy. You know what I mean? Like I would walk by and tap somebody on the shoulder. You know what I mean? And now they're used to me doing that. But they don't touch each other here, man. That's when I first came here, my mom warned me and she said, don't be touching them.
Portugal, France, or Russia for men to cheek kiss as a sign of friendship. You might have to be very close to that person, but once you've established a close bond, this is something you may have to get used to. After visiting France, you could be in England an hour later and try to kiss a man on his cheek there, and he may take offense. One thing people might find peculiar about the English is their orderliness and sometimes utilitarian nature. In England, compared to the continent, people can be quite serious about things. This could be how much...
Yeah, I'm from a British colony. Woo-wee, my mom is like that. My mom is prim and proper and put together. You understand what I mean? I used to do a radio show, and I remember my mom saying, you're wearing a suit and tie, right? And I'm like, Mom, I'm sitting in a little crowded room with a mic in my face. I'm just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Oh, no. You have to dress the part, you know what I mean? You're an announcer, you put on a tie and thing like that. My mom is like that a lot, but that's because of I'm from a British colony, and she was raised like that, you know what I mean?
Much emphasis they put on an orderly cue, or even how much they espouse not making a fuss. Some people call this the stiff upper lip, meaning someone shows great restraint. You'll find people don't complain much in restaurants, or even are quite nice to someone who they hate, if not pushed to the extreme. But the English are also renowned for their propriety in times of adversity, much the reason why Rudyard Kipling once wrote, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. He was referring to English people dressing up in the hot tropics during the time of the Empire. Anything to keep up appearances.
Oh, yeah.
We will now move over to the Netherlands, a country that has surprised many visitors time and again. One of the most shocking things to people is Amsterdam, first with its rather open and diverse red light district, but perhaps more so because there are cafes you can go in and choose from quite a lengthy menu of marijuana. In most countries, you might find drugs and prostitution in rundown parts of town, but in Amsterdam these days, it is quite safe and also picturesque.
Genteel.
Another thing you might find strange in the Netherlands is the amount of bicycles and how they crazily zip about. The Dutch respect their bikes, and drivers must respect them too. In the Netherlands, there's even a special way to open a car door so there is no way you will open it on someone passing by on a bicycle. This involves opening the door with the hand furthest away from the handle. Kudos to the Dutch for coming up with that. Some people call it the Dutch reach, and it's a lifesaver. If you are going to spend a significant amount of time in Europe, you might come across the most passionate and sometimes scariest sports fans you'll ever see. While football hooliganism is sometimes said to be a British thing, most infamous in the 70s and 80s, it is widespread across Europe. People literally die for the game or their team. In Eastern European countries, such as Poland, the Czech Republic, Turkey, or Croatia, you'll find supporters with units that look more like special forces. In Italy, Spain, and the UK, supporters at once cry over the beautiful game and then later vent their anger by tearing up parts of cities. You will find this in other parts of the world, such as countries in South America, but let's say if your average Canadian got caught up in this thing.
See, on the island though, we didn't tear up stuff, but you go play a game up there. Let's say you live in the north and you live in the south and you go up and you play a game in the north. At least that's when I was a kid, and you win the game as the away team. Somebody's going to show you win the game, but you're not going to win the fight. Then it's run time because they're coming at you. I remember one time it was a school game too. We played a different school in a different part of the island, and we were leaving and they were mad, boy. They were standing around the buses and stuff, just screaming and hollering. And there's this girl, Stephanie, was on there, lean out and went boo at them. And as the bus going away, somebody just reached up and smacked her in the face. I know we are laughing about it. She didn't get hurt. They didn't hit her to hurt her, you know what I mean? It was just a pat in the face, it's like, shut up. So, but we never tore anything up or nothing like that, we would act stupid. Mainly there, you know what I mean, when you go play games, especially when it's not school, the other team cook up some food and thing, you know what I mean, and you say, hey, we're gonna go eat there, we're gonna go have a cook up, is what we call it, you know what I mean. So well, that's when I was growing up. I don't know how it is now. Maybe they're a lot more stringent about how they do stuff, but you go up there, you play. Little old lady in the village might cook up some food for you, you know what I mean, and thing. But it's kind of similar, but we don't tear stuff up.
They might find it rather peculiar. If you were to come across some hooligans and made a run for it, you might find that you'd easily get lost. European cities are old and weren't designed using easy-to-navigate systems. You could say many cities in Asia are relatively new cities in terms of them being built up to modern standards, and most American cities were created in a block system. Wandering through alleyways in Rome, following those country roads in the Scottish countryside, or navigating the cobblestone streets of Dubrovnik is one of the highlights of any trip. But before GPS came about, getting lost was assured. Let's say you are lost, and you stop at a local bar for a drink. One of the great things about some places in Europe is the homey feel of some of these old establishments. They might open till very late, or people in some parts of Europe may not even go out until 11 p.m. In more rural communities, you might still find people driving after a few drinks, and in most parts of Europe, you won't be blasted with AC while having to endure sports on 6 TVs. While you'll find American-style sports bars in Europe, one charming thing you'll still find is that the pub, the inn, the cafe will have a homely touch. You'll also find in Europe that a lot of young people get away with drinking. The age limit law in many European countries may not so assiduously be enforced by pub owners or police. If you are American, you'll also find that police in most of Europe are not so much in your face as they are in the States. They seem to be a nicer breed of cop. If you are young and want to party, head to Europe. Ironically, laws are laxer and there is, for the most part, less crime. You might need a drink to calm your nerves after you've experienced a day of watching nude people at the beach. Certainly in Spain and France, you'll find toplessness to be absolutely nothing out of the ordinary, and we are not talking about nudist beaches. Go there a second time, and you'll just get used to it, and maybe even throw caution to the wind and strip yourself. As most of you are English speakers watching this, or...
Speaking of that, they have the Super Bowl here, and one conservative commentator was like, oh, they showed titties, kind of like that, and he was all shocked about it, and the debauchery and all of that, It's just a body part, dude. You know what I mean? If that's offending you so much, then it's your dirty mind that's creating the problem. I mean, it's like, hey, all right, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? But yeah, he was all aghast at this. Oh my God, you know what I mean? And this was this year. This wasn't I'm not even talking about the year when Janet Jackson had that costume malfunction and everybody blew their lid, because oh my God, the kids. You think kids ain't seeing that stuff? They peeping at it all the time. It's in magazines and all of that. You think they're not seeing this? They're just seeing it behind your back. It's crazy.
Or can understand English, we feel we must give you a word of warning if you visit the UK. That warning is, you might not understand people when they speak to you. You think you speak English and know what it sounds like, and then you find yourself asking someone in Liverpool where the Beatles Story Museum is. What you hear back sounds like a foreign language. Down a few pints of Guinness in Dublin and start to chat with a guy with a very broad accent and you'll be equally confused. The accent can change from town to town, so even if you fully understand the Mancunian, that's someone from Manchester, you might have problems following someone's gist on the wonderful and wild moors of Yorkshire, and you've only driven for 45 minutes. It's actually fascinating to behold. We'll leave you with that,
check that
and hope
out.
you can see the delights of Europe one day. If you've already visited...
I want to check that out. I want to go from place to place and have the different accents. I mean, it is here in America to a certain degree, but generally speaking, if you live close to a kind of a big metropolis area, everybody, you could understand people. But where I live here, it's pretty much everybody you could understand. But you go out to a place called Wayne and it's out Wayne. Now I could understand them because I've been here for a while, but if you just got here from another country, you probably wouldn't understand them. And then you go over to Kentucky, just across the bridge there, like, my ex is from eastern Kentucky in the mountains up there. When I first came here, I couldn't understand what they were saying, and they couldn't understand what I was saying. And we were both speaking English. After a while, I got used to it, but like, you have to listen carefully. Like, I say nice, they say nice, nice, so it's hard to understand it too. Anyway, man, thank you all for watching this with me. I actually enjoyed this. It was kind of lighthearted. Hope you guys enjoyed it with me. Take care of each other, alright? Link in the description. Cool earnings.